Today we're taking a look at Nvidia, the brains behind AI, gaming, and data centers. So we're going to go over recent developments and how they could impact your personal portfolio. So when it comes to Nvidia, they just had their earnings earlier today, and their earning numbers came in quite impressive. The company reported a 69% increase in revenue compared to the same quarter last year, reaching 44.1 billion. This surge is largely due to strong demand for their AI chips, especially in data centers where sales jumped 73% to 39.1 billion. So, even with the challenges that they are facing with the US export restrictions to China, which led to an estimated $8 billion in losses of sales for the next quarter, Nvidia stock still rose by almost 5% in the after hours, hitting over $140 for the first time since February. I'm seeing a high point here of about 142.85. So, the US government has imposed restrictions on the export of advanced AI chips to China, aiming to limit China's access to the cutting edge technology that NVIDIA provides. This move has impacted NVIDIA significantly as China was a major market for their products. So, their CEO has expressed concerns that these restrictions could encourage China to find other avenues to develop their own chips, potentially creating new competitors in the future. But in spite of all of these challenges, NVIDIA is adapting by exploring and modifying chip offerings for the China market and expanding its presence in other regions like the Middle East. So now let's touch on the markets. NVIDIA's earnings impressed investors. Other tech companies like Broadcom and Taiwan Semi also saw gains in the post-market trading, reflecting the positive the tech sector. But overall, on the day, all of the indices were in the red. And we can see that across the heat map right here. Head of earnings, Kathy Wood, the CEO of ARK Invest, made a move. She picked up more than 34,000 shares of NVIDIA ahead of the earnings. This was a big move for someone who recently had trimmed their NVIDIA position. So the thought is that she got back in because she expected NVIDIA to crush earnings, which they did, especially as AI spending keeps growing. But even if it had dipped, Kathy must be betting on the long term potential of this stock. So I like to pay attention to these patterns and these moves that large institutions make, showing their overall conviction for certain investments and the future outlook that they are anticipating for the company. So, looking ahead when it comes to Nvidia, they're projecting revenues of around 45 billion for the upcoming quarter, and this is even after an estimated $8 billion loss in Chinese sales. The company is focusing on increasing their global footprint, diversifying, making sure to not be so reliant on the US, finding other regions in order to continue the growth of the company. So, NVIDIA is an individual stock that I hold in my portfolio. And when it comes to picking those individual stocks, it's not just about focusing on catching the next big thing. You have to keep up with what's going on with the company, stay informed, understand all of the factors that are driving the market and could impact your investment. But when it comes to big names like NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Apple, these are companies that I believe in long term and I know will thrive and make sure to adapt and change amid any challenges that they are facing related to the economy, the tariffs, or whatever happens to come up related to the growth potential that they are striving for. So Nvidia closed the day at 134.81, but as of the time that I'm recording in the after hours, it's 141.40. I usually buy fractional shares, going about investing into my ETFs and blue chip stocks in small amounts, 10, $20 at a time. But last month, the beginning of last month, when all of that turmoil was going on related to Liberation Day, I picked up two full shares at $93.96 per share. That was back on April 7th. So, when it comes to investing, I am a long term investor. I like to add things to my portfolio that I don't have to constantly watch, that I'm not having to place a stop loss on. I am willing to deal with a little bit of volatility, fluctuations, keeping on top of what is going on in the market so that I understand what is going on with my portfolio. But Nvidia is one of those investments that I added at the beginning of 2024 and I plan on holding long term. So, in the portfolio where I picked up those 2 shares around Liberation Day, I currently have 18 shares. I'm up 36.90%, and I have an average cost of $103.26. So that's it for today. Just a quick update on Nvidia's earnings. Is this a blue chip stock that you are holding in your portfolio? Share your thoughts on the earnings results. Is it what you expected? So let's continue to stay informed, invest wisely, give our portfolios a chance to recover, have our eyes open to buying the dip when these news catalysts and things occur that give us the opportunity to build up our portfolios at a discount. So if you're not already, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you can keep up with all of my videos and live streams, and make sure to drop me a comment. Okay, bye.